go. Please help me welcome Mayor Kuykendall as he gives the State of the City address.
If you could just leave the lights on for just a couple of minutes before I start my presentation. Wow, this is Fulshear's first State of the City speech here in the city of Fulshear. We did a State of the City last year with Richmond and Rosenberg, who are vital partners to the city of Fulshear through the chamber efforts. And really we've been overwhelmed by the support and all of the interest in this breakfast meeting this morning. You know, I became mayor in 2010, and as each day goes by, I get up in the morning and I pinch myself, just amazed about all of the great things and the great happenings that are going on here in the Fulshear area with the development, commercial development, and really the quality of citizens that we have moving into the city. So I'm amazed every day that I am able and fortunate to hold this job. But I don't do this job by myself, so I want to recognize a couple of groups of people who really make everything that I'm presenting this morning possible. First, we've had a great city council working together with myself and the city staff. So if you're here on the Fulshear City Council, I'll ask that you stand and be recognized at this time. Larry Buscreen, Jeff Roberts, thank y'all very much for your help and dedication to the city. Next also is the staff that we've been assembling at City Hall. They're being led at City Hall by our city administrator, CJ Snipes, who's in the back, and his birthday is this Sunday, so wish him happy birthday on your way out. And then if you're a member of the city staff at City Hall, I'd ask that you stand to be recognized. That's good. Most of them are still out there working, so I guess we're doing something right. But as I present the slides today, we're going through a lot of growth, and you can't really hire a lot of people ahead of time. And so everybody has to work hard. They have to do more than their fair share with their job skills, and before we can add staff, or we may have to wait till the next budget year. So I appreciate all the work that this whole group does day in and day out. Today, though, I'm honored and blessed to have two people here with me that I don't think they've attended many of my events, and I want to recognize and honor my mother who's here with me, Willie Mae Kuykendall. That's a lot different than ours, and I realized that last week at the Fort Wayne County Fair. She was talking with Mayor Delbert Went of Meadville, and they were talking about how they had to have replacement knees and different things, and they said, well, it was probably because they had to kneel down while they were picking cotton and pulling cotton in the fields. You know, and today a lot of us won't even really pull weeds in our flower beds, so that hard work has, an example, has benefited me tremendously. So thanks for being here, Mom. And so she had me for 19 years, and probably was ready to get rid of me, but my wife and I got married very young at 19, and she was 16. But she's been a tremendous influence on me, helping to keep the home together while I went to college at night. She also helped dedicated herself to our son Ty and daughter Alyssa, raising our family. She's taken on the legislature with different bills relating to sexual assault of children, and that was a difficult challenge. But she's the person that is not shy to tell you, hey, when you're not going the right direction, or you need to change your direction, or be more resolute in your actions here or there. And so I appreciate her honesty and her partnership that we've had. All right, I'm an engineer, so I'm not good at all that mushy stuff. So with that, we'll get started with the presentation. I know that's what everyone's here to see this morning. Again, thank you for being here. What engineer wouldn't start a presentation out without going over some good facts about the city? We're going to look at the year in review, our financial outlook moving forward, what we're expecting to do the next year and beyond, and then look at some of the fortunes and fun that we have in store here in the Fulshear area. Fulshear is a general law city. Our city limits comprises approximately 11 square miles. Our ETJ is over 37 square miles, which makes us one of the largest land area cities of a general law city in the state of Texas. 35% of that area, though, is under development. And I'm sure you've seen that as you came to the city this morning, unless it was a little dark. You'll see it on your way out. We have some tremendous developments that I'll talk about. But demographers and developers alike agree that Fulshear will be the focus of growth over the next 10 years. This is a graphic you can see of the city limits in red. Again, that's the 11 square miles. The blue is our ETJ, so we border with Richmond and Rosenberg on the south, Richmond on the east. The majority of the east side of our ETJ, we border up against the city of Houston. We border against Katy on the north end. So we extend almost from the Brazos River in the south to nearly I-10 in the north. So it's quite an extensive area that we have to control and look after the development. Again, since 2000, our population has expanded over 400%. I was telling someone earlier this morning that, when I moved out here in around 2000, that the population wasn't even at 400, and now the growth is over 400%. So that's just an amazing fact that the trends that are occurring out here. But our growth has been keyed on 4 really, I think, outstanding master plan communities that we're fortunate to have an association with. On the very far northeastern side near Katy, you have the Firethorn development. That development's about 1,500 acres. Next that came into the picture was Cross Creek Ranch, and you'll see that on your way out on the north side of 1093. That's a little over 3,200 acres of development. Then we have Fullbrook on Fulshear Creek, which is about 600 acres. It's right behind City Hall. And then our newest development is Churchill Farms, the Beezer development, just northeast of Cross Creek Ranch. And they've really hit the ground running. And the sales along FM 1463 for Firethorn, Cross Creek Ranch, and Churchill Farms has been just really skyrocketing the last year or so. As far as population goes, when you drove into the city, the sign said 1,334. Well, our boundaries weren't updated for the census and so when it's a mistake on behalf of the city, they don't go and update their numbers. So we have to live with that for a while. But we do know how many water taps we have, how many new homes are being built, and we think our population is a little over 3,200 today. One thing that's a phenomenal statistic is our 2010 median home cost was up $286,000. So that just tells you the level and the quality of development that's occurring with the 4 developments that I highlighted. Again, I think the community that's growing out here is more of a traditional married family, which I think is great for the development of a community and the things that we have in mind for the future. One thing that really the commercial developers and the statisticians really key in on is our average household income is nearly $123,000. So they see a lot of disposable income from these households, and they're looking to move out here. And there's a lot of excitement on the ground for that development. As far as the future trends go, in 2012, again, we're about at 3,200. Based on some of the projections from our developments and internally at City Hall, We believe by the year 2015, we'll eclipse the 6,000 mark and be around 6,300 in population. Our fiscal year 2011-2012 was a year of really tremendous growth and change in Fulshear. Again, the city added approximately 1,100 residents. We conducted quite a few projects, and also we conducted some infrastructure projects to aid in the growth and the future of the city. Let me review some of those projects. We had infrastructure improvements. The city focused its resources on improving the water and the sewer systems in Fulshear. Some of our new developments, they're building some great, grand infrastructure pieces like sewer plants, water plants, roads, infrastructure that is needed to support that. But the city had some existing facilities that we had to take care of. And I'll show you some area that really there was a gap in services that hindered the development. So the water plant improvements, and actually just next door to Huggins Elementary School to our south and west, we had some plant improvements by upgrading the tank, repairing it, and also putting in some new pumps to ensure that we had adequate capacity downtown. Another project that we're proud of was a public-private partnership that we entered into for the extension of water and sewer lines from downtown Fulshear all the way out to the edge of Cross Creek Ranch. This was one that we were able to take some of our sales taxes that were collected through our 4A Development Corporation. We were able to apply to the Governor's Office for Economic Development for a loan. And we also had the landowners participate in that. We have several landowners, the school district being one of those that helped participate in that so we could extend adequate water and sewer facilities to enable future development along FM 1093. And the significance of that is, as I mentioned, on the left side of your screen you see the downtown area. They had water and sewer facilities there. Cross Creek Ranch has installed all their new water and sewer facilities to the east. But this area in the middle was, to me, was stagnated because those developments had to provide their own water and provide their own sewer, which meant it took up valuable commercial development property space. And so being able to extend these facilities out will really open up an additional 400 acres for development. As you grow and you have new residents, crime and safety is really their number one concern, so we're always focused on that. For the first time in the city's history, we were able to bring on adequate staff and resources to have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, police coverage throughout the city. We also instituted a new image with the new vehicle, the black and white. We went back to the traditional. Those cars seem to be more visible out there on the highways. If you remember growing up, when you were going down the FM roads or the state highways, you always saw the state troopers, they were black and white. So I think a lot of the cities are moving back to that, creating a new image. Our policing has focused back to be community oriented so that we're working together with the residents, with the citizens, and not being someone that they're afraid of. So we're striving to have a good partnership with the community here in the subdivisions, but also with our commercial developers. And in the area of technology, we upgraded our ticket writing process. We're about to bring online the automated ticket writers, and that just provides, there's less mistakes when you can automate that process. It saves time at City Hall. Someone doesn't have to input the tickets into the system. And also there's a big safety factor of our officers not having to stand on the side of FM 1093 where there's really no shoulder out there today. And just one fact as you're leaving here today, the police department does stop about 350 cars a month. But if the odds are in your favor, only about 48% get tickets. So just be careful and watch your speed on the way out. As far as other improvements of an operational nature, we enhanced our emergency management capabilities by installing a generator at City Hall and also additional communications equipment that will be able to link up and connect to the county's emergency management system, the video cameras and audio systems. And so we're bringing ourselves up to the current time and technology in those areas, and it's something that the community desperately needed. Additionally, we trained our first set of Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT teams. This group of residents and volunteers will assist the city in recovering if and when any disasters may strike. Excuse me. And a lot of the things that I'm mentioning today focus on communication. We were really back in the Stone Age relative to communication just a few years ago, but everyone in here probably has to be a hold of an iPhone, or everybody text messages, does everything, like, not while you're driving, of course. But and so we had to bring ourselves up to the 20th century, and we instituted a system called Blackboard Connect, and it's been an overwhelming success. This is a method that we use to communicate with our residents here. You're able to also sign up for that if you live away from the city of Fulshear, but you may get some errant messages that don't apply to you. But we do use it. For instance, we've used it to notify residents of a tornado in the area, when we had water notices, when our pressure dropped. Community events were able to be advertised through that system. And also, and I'll discuss zoning in a minute, we were able to use that to notify citizens of those zoning public hearings and meetings so that we could get all their questions out on the table. So this has been a great tool that we've instituted, and it runs on a geographic information system, and we can target our messages to specific areas of the city, and we don't bother the rest, because all of you are aware that if you get 20 emails from one person every day, you're going to ignore those. So we try to be very targeted and specific with that. This is a huge accomplishment, I believe, that the city accomplished this last year, was the adopting of our zoning ordinance. Everyone that's here, you've heard the struggles and battles in the city of Houston. The city of Rosenberg, I know, has been facing this tough challenge over the last few years of adopting zoning. And, I think we took a great approach because the community always wanted to help control the direction and, more importantly, the quality of development that we had occurring here in the city. But through the city staff, probably mainly CJ caught the brunt of this, but we conducted a very thorough public involvement process where we tried our best to address all the questions and concerns. The concerns didn't come from our major new developers, but they were primarily from the existing residents in the downtown area who had been here for 50 years. And they're concerned about their lot that they've been living on for that time period and being run out and run over by commercial development. So we really took time to craft an ordinance that would protect them and preserve their goals and their wishes as a family, but also it would allow us to harness and control some of the other undesirable things that the city was not in favor of. Also, again, our focus this past year has been on communication. We changed our internet domain name. We used to be, I think, FulshearTX.net. But we felt like a real city needs a real city address, and we adopted the FulshearTexas.gov. Again, anything you do at the city, there's a lot of paperwork and hurdles you have to jump through, and that sounds easy, but it took a little bit of time. And so we launched our new website. We hired a firm to help us redesign that, where residents can actually get the information they need when they need it. Again, we have all the new developments that are occurring. The city has not just sat back and said, well, let's see what all of these developments can bring to the city. We wanted to be a proactive team member with these individuals and with these development groups. And so we actually developed a new campaign called Find Your Future in Fulshear. You saw some of the banners out in the foyer whenever you walked into the auditorium here. But we're out and about marketing the entire city of Fulshear through International Council of Shopping Center conferences. We've been to San Antonio to a conference. We went to one conference in Las Vegas, which that's an interesting story. And afterwards on the side, I can tell you a few things about that one. Because CJ introduced me to the mayor of Las Vegas, so I'm kind of glad we didn't take any pictures on that trip with him. So their styles of life are a lot different than what we're developing here in the city of Fulshear. Let me just say it that way. But we also started an ad campaign. You may have seen this. Texas Wide Open for Business. We have our first advertisement in here. It's a nice, almost 2/3 of a page ad on the right side so that people will see it. And the state of Texas distributes this all over Texas, the nation, and the world. So we want to be out there marketing, again, the great things that are happening around here. We have Cheryl Stalinsky, our development director, economic development director, who attends conferences. She gives countless presentations to realtor groups, again, just trying to promote the city. And if we have a prospect that comes in, she's always willing at any time to present the city to them and tell anyone that will listen about the city. So she's been a great advocate for us in that regard. We started our comprehensive planning process through HGAC Plan Source. We hired Kuykendall Keys Collaborative, and so we're off to a great start with that. But we hope to further that and complete that this next year. We also developed or revitalized and reestablished the city's Parks and Recreation Commission. And this is a really interested and devoted group of people to the parks and the recreation of the city and the connectivity of the city. For the first time, they developed the city's parks budget and also helped in the comprehensive planning document develop a parks plan. And I think that'll set the stage for the future of parks and recreation here in the city. But at this stage, really, I wanted to say that, we have a tremendous amount of volunteers that work here in the city. We have a planning commission, we have a 4A and a 4B development corporation, and we have the Parks and Recreation Commission. And just a few years ago, those 4 groups of people would probably be all of the same people at every one of those groups. But we have such a diversity in the community today that we've reached out to Cross Creek Ranch, to Firethorn, to Fullbrook on Fulshear Creek, and I'm sure shortly to Churchill Farms. But we want to bring all of these individuals together because they are part of our community. We want to make sure that the new works together with the old, and that's a very strong goal of mine, is to have the new and the old working together. And so we can see the different needs and wants and challenges for each of those different groups. But also, there's some real expertise, and that's moving into our area. People have a lot of knowledge and capabilities that we can take advantage of that on these groups. So I want to thank all of those groups for their dedication to the city. Another project that occurred this year, again, a public-private partnership right here at the Stern Community Center, just to the south where the large parking lot is situated. Cross Creek Ranch donated nearly an acre of land to the city, so that started the process off. We were able to work with Commissioner Myers, and I'd like to thank him and also the County Commissioners Court for setting up the Road and Bridge Department to help out cities around the area. But our 4B Development Corporation was able to pay for the materials. The county came in and paved this new parking lot. Otherwise, we would all be parked up and down along the side of the street in the grass. So, and we've had a lot of meetings where that has been the case. So this was a fabulous addition. So I want to thank Cross Creek Ranch and Fort Bend County for helping the city to accomplish that. The city is perhaps in its best financial condition ever. We just finished our adoption of our budget and tax rate, and our most recent audit indicates that the city's general fund reserve balance is funded at 100%. So our general fund budget is probably just a little over $2 million, and we have another $2 million in the bank to help protect for any catastrophic events that may occur. So the city's in a tremendous financial shape. But all of you are probably familiar, a lot of you are engineers and developers, and you know the expensive infrastructure. I mean, $2 million in the bank doesn't really go very far. So that's a good condition to start off in. But we still have a long way to go relative to that. We'll talk about that. The city is fortunate we've been able to institute and hold a strong financial management position while at the same time enhancing and expanding our services across the board. Again, the focus has had to be on public safety. We have officers out there on the street, and the community makes comments. They really see the police officers out there patrolling their areas, so that gives them a comfort level. Our permits and inspections departments, again, with all of the development we have, if we're behind in the permitting and inspection, then the developments will be slow as well. So we've done our best to keep up with that, expanded the staff, and also, as we've mentioned, trying to keep up with the needs of our infrastructure. Again, our fiscal stewardship has maximized the resources, giving us a total city budget of just under $3 million. And the surprising fact is the city itself has a debt just under $24,000. So we have never issued obligations, certificate of obligations or bonds. We have, let's see, we bought on credit from John Deere a couple of tractors. So we're moving in that direction. We'll have some significant projects where we will have to go through some of the financing options that are out there and that are available. But we're in a good position to move forward doing that. Again, one tremendous fact is our sales tax is up 41% year over year. And so with all of the people that are moving out here, we have the accompanying commercial developments, we can capture that sales tax. So we're growing in a very positive and great direction. The revenue from our housing starts, that's an important aspect, again, is about 51% of the total revenue to the city. This is a graphic that shows you a few of the different areas that our revenues do come from. Again, our ad valorem taxes account for about 20%. Currently, our sales taxes account for 14%, and then the permits and inspections just under 40%. Our goal is definitely to keep our ad valorem taxes as low as possible and to promote the commercial development that you're seeing out there and get that 14% of the pie to ever expand to cover more of our services that the citizens need. Again, this helps us keep our ad valorem tax rate as low as possible. This is a little graphic that shows, how we compare against the other cities. And our tax rate last year was 20.5 cents. This year, I think we're 20.3. So essentially, it's about even. And again, this slide is not to criticize other cities, but as I told you earlier, we don't have any debt in our system. So, as we take on debt, that tax rate will likely have to rise. So we have the room to hopefully grow and take care of the issues and challenges that we'll face in the future. But this tax rate of 20.3 cents is definitely attractive to the home buyers looking in our area. Again, the city is on a very steep climb to meet the challenges that growth brings ahead. And CJ and I have an ever-expanding to-do list. I looked at it last night, and I think it's probably currently about 5 pages. Because when you accomplish one thing, there's 2 other things that you know that you need to work on and you need to accomplish. And we don't want to rest on what we've done in the past. It's good to review and see where we've been, what we've done. But we also have to look forward and make sure we take care of the future of the city and the residents out here. In the new fiscal year, we're planning to complete several of the projects that I mentioned and start several new projects to really maintain our momentum and our growth. The first of those is for the first time we've adopted a capital improvements plan for our existing streets to bring those back up to current standards. Last year the drought just tore all of our asphalt streets to pieces. It was like that across all cities and the whole county, so it's been a real challenge. But the city has, tried to place its money where its mouth is and try to take care of that. And so we have over the next 4 years repaving all of the existing asphalt streets or reworking those streets if necessary at an estimated cost of $1.6 million. So I think this year we have probably the highest amount ever is $500,000 we have in the budget. And again, that's going to be through a partnership with Fort Lee County, who's able to bring in the sweat equity to the process, and we can buy the materials, and it's served the city well in the past, and we appreciate that. As I mentioned, I may not have mentioned earlier, but to someone earlier, you think that you saw the graphic of downtown, the streets that we have, you think, okay, there's probably a half a mile of streets in the city. Well, we're up to over 100 miles of streets in the city of Fulshear, and that really just blew my mind. So we have a lot more to look after and take care of. Additionally, we'll begin preparations to replace our aging wastewater treatment plant. And this is CJ's favorite saying, so I'll say that I stole it from him. He said, everyone wants a water feature downtown, like the one on the left, but just not the one on the right, which is the sewer treatment plant. And so that's right in the middle of our downtown area. And we have some discussions going on to possibly try to relocate that to a different location since we do have to expand it.
On infrastructure improvements, again, Commissioner Myers has worked tirelessly on the expansion of FM 1093 out from the Grand Parkway to west of Fulshear to James Lane. And I have to really thank him and also the Commissioner's Court for their dedication to trying to keep this project ongoing. I was trying to think of an analogy, and they have the one show where you can phone a friend, you can ask the audience and do all these other things. Well, this project's lifelines of support were gone long ago, and so he's continuously worked to further this project, and it's desperately needed in our area, and I think all of our developers would agree. And I believe that if the schedule holds true, sometime in fiscal year 2014, construction of the section here in Fulshear would begin. Again, looking ahead, police and public safety are number one. So we have budgeted and plans. We've interviewed candidates to hire 2 new full-time police officers. I think we've narrowed that down to the candidates. We've purchased 2 new police vehicles. Those are being equipped. And we're going to have enhanced camera and monitoring equipment, because one thing that we've had to do is make sure that, especially with the police department, we've built a good, strong, positive image. And part of this camera systems is making sure that we have everything documented and recorded so that there's no question what occurs out there on traffic stops and in the life of our police officers. So I'm proud that Chief Seymour has really taken the bull by the horns, and he's promoted this policy of being above reproach and requiring the best of the best, and that's what Fulshear needs and what they deserve. Additionally, we're going to enhance and improve some of our park facilities. We've passed a tremendous amount of ordinances. We want to codify those and organize those so that if you're living out here, if you're developing out here, that you can go to one location and figure out what the requirements are for you to have a successful development. And so that's very important. And also, along with our comprehensive plan, we're going to finish that up, and it'll include an update to our major thoroughfare plan, which that sets the tone and the tenor for the whole future of the city, looking out 20 to 30 years and beyond. One thing significant that's going to occur in the history of the city of Fulshear is we're currently a general law city, which means we're working under the rules of the state. When we reach the population of 5,000, which will likely be in early 2014, we hope to, this next year in 2013, assemble a committee to develop our home rule charter so that we can set the direction for the city and we can kind of govern ourselves, if you will. Whether we want council districts or we want everybody to be at large. Do you want to serve for 2 years, or do you want to serve for 3 or 4 years, staggered terms, non-staggered terms? And it will give us more powers also for, acquiring property in our ETJ and also going out and annexing property. Currently, all the property that has been annexed into the city, the developers have seen the benefit by being part of the city, and they've petitioned us to come into the city, so we're thankful to them for that, because they're a benefit to the city. But in the future, we'll have a little bit more control in that destiny. And I didn't want to leave the presentation this morning without mentioning our partners in the educational realm. We have Katy Independent School District and Lamar Consolidated ISD, who have plans for multiple campuses set to open within the next several years. And this graphic gives you the city is split almost about a third to the eastern part of the city, where you see the white graphics. That's Katy ISD. They already have Wolfman Elementary and Firethorn to the north. They have a future high school and elementary school there to the south. And then also Lamar Consolidated has been very active and aggressive in looking at the growth and development patterns. They have a future elementary school up on the north end. Huggins Elementary, who the kids that gave our Pledge of Allegiance today attend, is right southwest of the community center. And then we have a transportation center and the Churchill Fulshear High School and the Dean Lehman Junior High School playing on that same site. Now, Kuykendall Junior High was one of the actual considerations for that. And once I got to looking at the criteria, I was kind of glad that that they didn't select that, because one of their criteria was you had to be dead. So, And it's not for me that it was selected. It was, if you look into surveys around here, the Kuykendall name is a big, long line of history here. But I just say that as a kind of an aside joke. Let me back this up. I need to set that up. I think it's, maybe it's Joby Allen who said that there's a tsunami that's on our horizon. Well, you know, my kids are 14 and 15, so I envision a little bit different clip about how we feel out here. You know, the city's small, and we have all of these things occurring upon us. And this graphic, to me, if it works right, I think will kind of give the perspective of how the small city of Fulshear feels with all of these big things that are happening. So to me, that gives a good graphic, and there are no subliminal messages in there about who's the wildebeest and who's the hyena. So don't try to draw any conclusions from that. But, you know, because we're doing our best to try to get ourselves prepared and keep up with the development that's occurring. But, you know, in the end, we'll think we'll be received well like this for the planning and the work that we've done here in the city. As stated earlier, our 2011-2012 sales taxes grew tremendously to over 41%. But we also had a lot of new businesses that came here to the city this past year, and I wanted to just highlight a few of those for you. We had Tax King, Tina's Bakery, Guardian Taekwondo, Keller Dance Studio, Texas Insurance Agency, and Hula Car Wash, and no, you don't have to wear a grass skirt to go through it. But also I wanted to point out Victor's Mexican Grill. If John's still here in the back, they catered our breakfast this morning, so let's give him a hand for that. There's something always new on the horizon, and yesterday we actually had a photo op for the very soon to open Time-Wise and McDonald's at the intersection of 1463 and 1093. So I know that everyone there yesterday had kids or grandkids that have just been, you know, keeping their eyes on those golden arches. But, you know, I don't know if the community is, you know, that's our first fast food joint, so that's good in a way. But the main thing that I see is it's on a corridor that runs from Katy to Richmond, and hopefully people that are just traveling north and south will stop in and spend some of their money and contribute sales tax to the growth and development of the city. Now looking at some fun that we plan to have in Fulshear. So we want to just point out some of our upcoming events that we have and remind you of those. Another one, this is CJ's graphic, so he did a great job. We have Movies Under the Stars, and our 4B Development Corporation actually used some of our sales tax. We purchased an outdoor movie projector, sound system, and a huge screen. We rented this in the past so that we can have more of those, and we partnered with the Fulshear Arts Council, and they plan to actually promote and have more events, and we'll allow them to use that equipment. Now I just have to have a couple of volunteers to go with me to Maryland to pick it up and get instructions on how to operate it. I think maybe the chamber can send Brian with me, right? No? This is an event that's grown to be loved here in the city of Fulshear, our City of Fulshear Scarecrow Festival. It's being hosted by Cross Creek Ranch and Johnson Development this year. It's on Saturday, October the 20th from 1 to 5. And I've just been amazed by the talent of people. I thought a scarecrow was just a flannel shirt stuffed with a little bit of hay on 2 sticks, okay? Stuck in your yard, but it's just amazing what some people, the level of detail they'll go to win. I think the top prize may be $1,000 bucks, so it's definitely worth your interest. And then in December, we'll have our Festival of Lights and Christmas Parade at 6 p.m. on December 1st. We'll have the Fort Bend Boys Choir there singing, so you can show up. I won't be leading the Christmas carols this year, so it's safe to come. And let me just wrap up here by saying that, thank you for all of you for coming. I think, and I hope that I've presented you a snapshot of what's happening out here, and you can see that finding your future in Fulshear has never been brighter and more vibrant. And just pray that God blesses our community and gives us the wisdom and knowledge that we need here in the city to make the best decisions to move the city and the community forward. Thank you.